From glass infinity pools to pristine lakes and natural hot springs, going for a dip in the water is all fun and games. Until, of course, you hit a body of water filled with hot magma, scary sharks, or chemical waste. Yeah, not so fun now, is it? In this video, we warn you about the most dangerous waters in the world, where you should never swim. First up, we have the longest and most ancient river in the world, the Nile. Engulfed in the mysteries of ancient Egypt, the Nile connects the Middle East, Africa, and the Mediterranean into one big river system. But there are a couple of reasons you should never swim in the Nile. For starters, Egypt doesn't have the cleanest of sewage systems, so you'll be exposing your body to deadly parasites and bacteria that live in the freshwater. In fact, did you know more than 4,000 people die every day from schistosomiasis, an infection caused by parasitic worms that thrive in the Nile? But that's not it. The Nile is also teeming with crocodiles who attack hundreds of people every day.
Who were attacked, those who survived and those who died.
5 survivors.
For context, only 16 shark attacks are reported a year in the United States. So unless you want to end up like a wildebeest on the Discovery Channel, probably best to stay on land. Next up is the Blue Hole, one of the world's most popular diving sites. Located about 100 kilometers off the coast of Belize in the Caribbean Sea, the Great Blue Hole attracts thousands every year with its deep blue waters and dramatic underwater cliffs. It's pretty much a dream spot for scuba divers. Once you're 40 meters deep, the water is so clear it feels like you're floating in space, hearing nothing but your own breathing and seeing nothing but the bubbles from your mouth. But how deep is it really? And what lies at the bottom? Well, one team of research divers found a Coke bottle that had somehow made its way 407 feet deep in the water. But right by the trash, they also found 2 human bodies of divers who were lost in the Great Blue Hole. You could also end up face to face with all types of sharks, from the Caribbean reef shark to bull sharks, you name it. And who knows what other scary creatures live down there? Dare to find out? Didn't think so. Then we have this boiling lake in the Dominican. Right under the surface of the water, you find volcanic magma flowing through magma chambers heating up the water to create hot steam. With temperatures reaching 200 degrees Fahrenheit, this seething lake is located about 6 miles from the country's capital, Roseau, filled with bubbling gray water enveloped in a cloud of vapor.
It's time to do the weight test. So we got a big bag of rocks that's gonna simulate my weight. We're gonna put it out on the rope and see how far down it sags. See if it ends up in the water or not.
That ain't no place to go skinny dipping. Unless, of course, you want a wee taste of hell on earth. Moving on, we have the Bubbly Creek in Chicago. Just so you know, it's not a real creek. And when you hear the name Bubbly Creek, it sounds like a pretty pink place. Like something you'd see in The Lord of the Rings, in the Shire, or some cutesy place in Hogsmeade in Harry Potter. But no, Bubbly Creek is the most nauseatingly disgusting part of the Chicago River. Thanks to the nearby Union Stockyard dumping blood, manure, and urine into the river for over 100 years.
Oh my God, get me out of here. This is nasty because I row on it like all the time. I see like what's in the water and I don't want to be like touched.
The bubbles are actually the result of the decomposing meat, since pollution has made sure that there's little life in the river to decompose things. With the 3-foot layer of animal remains at the bottom of the creek, this has got to be one of the most unswimmable waters in the world. Often described as a black, silty hole of death, welcome to the deepest diving site in the Gulf of Thailand, going 280 feet below. If you really want to dive into this so-called hole of death, get ready to deal with strong currents, oil tankers passing through, poor visibility, and of course, this large predatory fish called the barracuda. And if that's not scary enough, just remember that the US Navy has been using this exact site as a dump for ammunition. So there's always the possibility of bumping into the wrong thing and just blowing yourself up. But what about the Great Amazon? Is it safe to swim? Well, not really. Winding through the dense rainforests of South America, the Amazon basin is home to some of the most dangerous creatures in the world.
I know, so I have no idea what's in this one. But hopefully I don't feel anything.
There are, of course, those feisty red fish called piranhas, who could pretty much tear you to shreds with those razor teeth, or electric eels, capable of shocking you with 600 volts, which, by the way, is 5 times stronger than a standard US socket. And while you've probably heard of these, you've probably not heard of the kandiru, tiny fish that swim up your urinal tube and lay eggs. Now that's us hoping we don't need a 4th deadly creature to keep you away. Now, you should not be going to swim in dams, period. I mean, to begin with, swimming in places like the Hoover Dam is a jailable offense, so you could end up serving jail time. But the real reason is the super strong water currents enough to pull anything down. Remember, it isn't a normal body of water. It's a body of water artificially designed to make electricity. In 2017, a Welsh tourist, Aaron Hughes, was arrested for swimming across the Hoover Dam, said to be the only person to survive such a swim, with many other less lucky ones who have been sucked into intakes, like bell-mouthed spillways. Not to mention, dams are almost teeming with sharks who smell a tasty swimmer from a mile away. Okay, sure, most drowning cases happen because a person's not able to swim. Remember, when swimming in the ocean, it's important to know how the currents work. And if you ever get caught in a current in Myrtle Beach, home to some of the strongest currents in America, you better swim with the current and never against it. I mean, even if you swim outside of hurricane season, your life is still at risk. From strong riptides to dangerous marine animals like jellyfish or high bacteria levels in the water, many parts of this beautiful beach are simply not safe to swim in. Kinda like the Whirlpool Rapids on the American side of the iconic Niagara River in New York, where these Class 5 rapids are so dangerous they reach insane speeds of more than 20 miles per hour. And it's not just risky due to the strong and powerful currents, but also the debris constantly swirling around in the water. With max speeds sometimes reaching 22 miles per hour, the force of the whirlpool water can easily toss and trap swimmers against rocks, leading to serious injuries or even death. No wonder this place has been off limits to paddling tours since the 1970s, and probably so for the best. Now, forget about the famous Pirates of the Caribbean. Here in Kenya, you meet the Pirates of Africa. Ruled over by Somalian pirates, the waters around the infamous Lamu Island are no place for a boat trip. A local terrorist group, the Al-Shabaab, has not only destroyed the economy of this once touristy island. Today, dozens of visitors have been captured by pirates, with most of them never coming back.
Sort of ransoms are being demanded.
Anything up to 20-30 million is a first demand.
With links to Al-Qaeda, this group of African pirates has done it all: hijacked fishing vessels, kidnapped tourists, and ravaged local homes. So unless you want to end up dead or traumatized for life, you should probably steer clear of this dangerous war zone. Mumbai is home to one of the most polluted beaches in the world. From trash left by visitors to untreated industrial dump, the Chowpattty Beach has surely seen some better days. Now, steeped in raw sewage, did you know the fecal coliform in the water is 60% higher than safe, with fecal bacteria level in the water recorded to be 1,455 per 100 milliliters. That's a lot higher than the tolerable value of 500 per 100 milliliters. Located just under the foot of Malabar Hill, sand on the beach has turned black due to oil and garbage from a city that's home to 18 million people. Yeah, you could do the math on that one. The Bay of Bengal is home to 300 Andaman Islands, but there's one that's seriously off limits. Often described as one of the remotest islands in the world, the danger here is not so much the content or quality of water, more like a hostile tribe of hunters called the Sentinelese. The Indian government has banned access to the island, so if you're ashore in the Bay of Bengal, you might want to be a little careful. In fact, an airplane full of photographers once flew near the island, and the locals actually hit the airplane with 100 arrows. So unless you want to face the risk of being shot by an arrow, you might want to stay pits away from this one. If you were downright scared when you saw the movie Jaws for the first time, this one will blow your mind. Located off the coast of South Africa, the Dyer Island is home to a place called the Shark Alley, near the small fishing town of Gansbaai, where you can find dozens of shark species roaming around, even the big scary white ones who come here to feed on the massive colony of seals in the nearby Geyser Island. Once named by 15th century Portuguese pirates as the Ilha de Fera, or the Island of Wild Creatures, this close-up view of one of the most fierce predators in the world should be enough to ward off any sane person from going for a swim around the Dyer Island. Moving on to this lake in Spain, located near an old mine for a stretch of 50 kilometers, the river is a shade of bloody red and orange. Wondering why? For over 5,000 years, the area has been mined for copper, silver, and gold, with mining operations located as close as 20 kilometers from the nearest shores. With runoff chemicals spilled into the lake, it is these chemicals that make it look so red. So yeah, unless you want 5,000 years of mining pollution making its way on your skin, or even worse inside your body, you should probably not dip your toe in this one. In fact, the river is so acidic, it's believed to replicate the conditions on Jupiter's moon, Europa. Crazy, right? Now time to dive into the famous Jacob's Well, where you'll find yourself in a 100-foot deep cavern with many intricate chambers you can get lost in. Over the years, this swimming hole in Texas has claimed at least 9 lives, making it one of the most dangerous diving spots in the world. Known for its crystal clear waters that offer a unique chance of looking down and seeing way further than you can in any other lame lake in the world. Despite the dangers of getting lost in a never-ending black hole of watery caves and tunnels, this place is still a popular natural pool. But hey, before you dive too deep, you might need some special training and equipment if you don't want to lose your way underwater. So there you have it, some of the most treacherous waters in the world. From barbaric pirates in Africa to hostile tribes in the Indian Ocean. From rivers polluted by centuries of mining to humans and plastic waste dumped from the slums of Mumbai. Whether it's dangerous white sharks off the coast of South Africa or the small ravenous fish in the Amazon, you have many enemies to watch out for. To learn more about the most deadly and extreme places around the world, make sure you subscribe to The Road to Adventure, your ultimate travel guide into the scary and unknown. And we promise to come back with more exciting travels in the future. Until then, happy and of course, safe travels.